Hey everyone, Tony Ivanov here, lead trader at TradeBuddy, and today I'm going to go over a nice, simple, quick, and concise video of how to trade penny stock breakouts every single day and make nice, consistent profits. Alrighty, so when it comes to trading penny stock breakouts, you need to have three main things. You need to have a good catalyst, and this can be either news-based, industry-based, or just overall based on the fact that the penny stock market is running. Two, you need to have good volume, mainly buying volume, and you can see that by looking at level 2. And three, you need to have a nice, simple pattern that you follow that is consistent over time, whether that be breakouts, dip buying, or shorting. You have to find your own pattern that works best for you. If you need help finding some patterns, I have a ton of video lessons in my video library, or you can join my penny stock mastery course and you can look at exactly what my patterns are and how I develop them. Now, as far as the examples we're going to look at today, we're going to be mainly looking at MTSL and BLIN. Now, these are two stocks that today ran 213% and 81% respectively, and they both had very nice, easy patterns to follow. So we're going to transfer the video over to my screen, and we're going to break down exactly how you could have found these stocks and played them and made thousands of dollars. Alrighty, so here we are transferred over to my screen, and you can see that I have three main windows that I use when I trade. This large chart here is E-Trade Pro, and it's only available if you have an account with E-Trade. If you do not have E-Trade Pro, you can use a free platform called Thinkorswim that has all the charts, all the scanners that you need, and it's very user-friendly based, and best of all, like I said, it's free. So you can look up Thinkorswim, and I'll have the link down below. And that covers the charting. Now, as far as my scanning goes, I do go a bit overboard, mainly because I do make a watch list for my students, and I do have alerts based on all these the scanners. So in my case, I do need to have a bit more tools at my disposal. Now, this window up here in the top right is equity feed. This is around $200 a month, which is kind of expensive, especially if you're a beginner, but equity feed has made me a huge return on my investment, and if you are really serious about trading, I would really recommend that you get it. It does have a free 2-week trial that you can try out, and I have that link down below in the description. And then this one window down here is Trade Ideas Pro. Now, if you can only get one scanner, I would highly recommend Trade Ideas Pro. It is super customizable, has so many different functions, and this is only one window of the overall Trade Ideas arsenal. And this is what I use in the morning during pre-market, and I look at the gappers and see what stocks are gapping up, because usually the low float penny stocks that are gapping up, meaning that they're running during pre-market, they're at a higher price than the previous close, those stocks tend to be stocks that have news, and those stocks tend to be the stocks that have the biggest moves once the market opens. So during the pre-market, I wake up, I pull up my scanner, I pull up my E-Trade Pro, and I look to see exactly what stocks are hot for that morning. And if you look at this window down here, at 6 a.m. when it was pre-market this morning, we had BLIN as the main gapper. It had a ton of volume at 1.94 million shares, and it was already up 134% today. So let's just pull up BLIN real fast and see exactly what happened. So you can see at the point that we pulled up the low float gappers on Trade Ideas, that was already past its move. However, that does not matter, because if we look at the time frame for even earlier, say like 5 a.m., you can see that we still have BLIN there, and it's at a price of 286. So that would have given you the opportunity to trade the stock as it was doing this gigantic U shape. And the reason why this one was running is because if you look at equity feed, you can see which is market time 7 a.m., Bridgeline Unbound digital experience platform to power banks' customer experience, which sounds like good news. Sounds like they're partnering up with a company. Yep, as you can see, this last sentence, announced today that they will be partnering with a bank to power their digital presence, which is of course good news. And that's what caused this massive spike. You can see BLIN is a low priced stock and has a low float of 2.92 million shares. So if you are early enough to the market, you can catch on to these massive moves, and all it takes are some simple chart patterns. Right now, a simple pattern to follow is just a breakout. Now you can have multiple types of breakouts. You can have U-shaped breakouts, you can have flat top wedges. All you need to have is to have an area where you can see the price has resistance, pulls back, and then it goes back, retests that resistance, and then breaks out of it. The price breaks through, there's more buying than selling, and that shows demand for the stock. So this is the first time that BLIN showed an opportunity to trade it. And basically what you need to do is you just need to buy the breakouts. And what you can see here, if we zoom in very closely to this 1 minute candle, is that overall, as the price was retesting the high, it was making higher lows. You can see every single dip made a higher low over and over and over and over and over and so forth. That shows buying strength. And you can see right here just before it, we popped up and we hit a high of 265, just 1 cent underneath the breakout. It pulled back just a tiny bit, and then it ramped back up with an explosion in volume, as you can see down here. And that is the main indicator that, okay, this is really going to break out, because once you have a obvious resistance and it climbs back up like this, retests it, it pulls back one last time, and then tests it once more and then breaks out, that's almost always a confirmed breakout, and it's not likely to become a fake out breakout. So these are the ones that you just have to hop into them with good size and good conviction. And of course, as with all trades, you need to have a proper risk level. So if we just want to go off of this chart, what I would have done is you buy the breakout at, let's say, 265. Maybe your execution happens at like 267 since it's pre-market, and I would risk 10 cents a share. So if it goes down to 257, then I would cut the loss. However, if it doesn't go down to 257, then I'm going to let my profits ride out, mainly because I know that these type of plays that have these pre-market breakouts go very, very high, especially in the current market environment. So when you have a low float that has good news and lots of buying volume with a very clear breakout like this one was at 266, you can expect these to at least run $0.50 per share if it's in this high $2 range. Now, of course, that's not always guaranteed, and it's always smart to take your profits up along the way. So for example, if you were going, so as an example, if you're going to use a 10-cent share risk, you should probably take some partial profits once you're up 10 or 15 cents a share, and then let the rest ride, because then you're guaranteed to have the risk of the trade taken away, and no matter what, you will make profits in that trade. Now, it is, of course, going to make you not make as much profit, but if you're not as confident of a trader, then that will definitely help you build up your confidence and allow you to hold on for longer and longer and longer. So first, just start out buying the breakout and taking profits up along the way. And then as you see the pattern just work more and more and more, allow the profits to run a bit more strongly. So then, of course, it's hit resistance at 327. And let's just look at the daily chart real fast. 327 was not really resistance. I mean, it had one day here and a few days here, but that'd be kind of hard to tell. But you can see that, like, once we hit that price of 327, the price overall was getting very volatile, and we had this very massive pullback. So of course, if you're holding on a huge spike and you see a big pullback like that, it's basically based on your risk level of if you want to hop out of the trade. Like, for example, once this broke out over 266, it spiked up to 289 and then pulled back down to 274. Not all traders are going to be able to hold through that massive pullback and might panic out. If you want like a few tips on how to avoid that. Once you're in this trade, you buy the breakout at 266 and it goes up over 280. You want to raise your risk level off of 257 because as the price goes up, you want to have the risk trail behind it. So for example, what you could have done is, as you can see, these two candles bottomed out at around 274. So you can say, okay, now that we're above 280, I will stop out and take this small profit if the price drops below 273. And then no matter what, I'm guaranteed to not lose on this trade. And if you did that, this pullback would have not faked you out because it never broke below that price. So if you want a good way to track like the health of the run, you can simply just use one of these levels that you see on the candlestick chart where it has a type of resistance. Next stock I want to talk about is MTSL. You can see this one had almost exactly the same breakout. Now MTSL did not have news, but this one had massive volume and it's a very low float. As you can see up here, MTSL only 1.45 million share float. And the cool thing about Trade Ideas Pro is that it has another window which I made. It's called low float movers, and this essentially alerts me every single time that a stock breaks out to new highs. And on this alert, I have it mainly based around a low price and low float. So if you go back in time, you can see MTSL popping up there, but let's go back to the very first time it popped up, all the way back here. So MTSL broke out at around 10:20 a.m. So that's right here. You can see MTSL was at 148, only 64,000 shares traded when it was breaking out. But you can see it's still a breakout. It has a high of day at $1.47, and you have the overall breakout over that nice $1.50 area, which as we know is one of the main critical resistance points of penny stocks. So you have that breakout on increased volume. You can see the volume pop up pretty significantly, and mainly on the trade like this, it is a bit more risky, but you just have to know that in times like this where we have these crazy runners that go up 200% every single day, that these types of low float breakouts can turn into very massive runs because everyone sees it spiking up, as you can see on the level 2, or not everyone sees it spiking up, as you can see on the low float scanner, and then everyone starts to chase it and it just gets squeezed up and halts. So this one, MTSL, went from $1.50 up to $3.25 in just about under an hour. And of course you wouldn't hold through that whole move, but even just getting a piece of that move, you can make very, very large returns on your account. And this is how you grow your account exponentially every single day. So just to recap, what do we need to find these amazing penny stock spikes? We need to have a scanner that can scan for a low price and low float, and we need a way to find news related stocks. The way that I do that is by using Equity Feed and Trade Ideas Pro. You don't need to use these. You can also use like StockTwits, Twitter, and also the free scanners out there. I'm not going to name them all, but there are quite a few that you can find just by doing a quick Google search, like MarketWatch and FinViz. And then you just need to find stocks that are being actively traded in pre-market, because like I said, the stocks in pre-market being actively traded are usually, not always, but usually the biggest stocks of the day, especially if they have very good news releases like partnerships, acquisitions, contract news, earnings, and so forth. All of these great news releases will bring traders to the trade, because as with any type of trading, you need to have liquid markets, because the more traders that there are in the play, the more money that is being tossed around and the more money that you can grab from the play. So always look to trade liquid stocks, and always look to trade the main stock that everyone else is trading. And one really awesome way of locating what stocks everyone is watching is by joining a chat room or getting a watch list. Now, of course, I do have a chat room. I'm not going to recommend that you have to join it, but if you do want help finding the most active stocks every single day, I have a pretty good track record of always trading the most active stocks. So you can, of course, join the channel for a free 7-day trial. Link is down below. And then of course, the next step is that once you locate that stock, you have to trade it using your main pattern, whether that be breakouts, dip buying, shorting, whatever it is. You have to develop your own strategy in order to trade these stocks. Now you can base it off of someone else's strategy because, I mean, almost all traders who buy breakouts buy U-shapes and flat top wedges, but we all have our own different nuances and criteria for each trade, whether it be a low float, a low price, a certain amount of volume. You have to develop that yourself over time, and then just really track your trades and learn what's profitable for you, because even though we all trade the same stock, our emotions are different, and that means that we all trade kind of differently. So those are my main lessons for today, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this lesson. It wasn't as concise as I thought, but of course, with anything trading wise, there's so much to learn about it. If you guys need any more help with trading, like I said, I have a huge video lesson in my YouTube channel. I have a free ebook that essentially just breaks down this even deeper, and you can click the link down below to find that. And you can drop any questions down below, and I'll be happy to answer them as soon as I can. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching this video. I do appreciate your time, and hope to see you in the next video.